The lone vote cast not in favor of Clark went to Angel Reese. The vote kept Clark from becoming the WNBA's fifth ever.
Picture this. It's one of those defining moments in sports where everything seems predictable, yet a twist is just around the corner, ready to leave everyone stunned. Caitlin Clark, a name that has echoed through every corner of the basketball world, is about to be crowned the fifth ever unanimous Rookie of the Year in WNBA history. The numbers speak for themselves. Her talent is undeniable. But then, just when the crowd is ready to celebrate her unmatched dominance, the unexpected happens. One single vote stands in her way. You've probably heard about it, the moment that sent shockwaves through the league, causing fans, players, and analysts to question everything. How could this happen? Who was behind it? Why did one person choose to go against the obvious choice? The answer to these questions might be more shocking than you think, and it could expose something much deeper than just a vote. But let me tell you this: what comes next isn't just about Caitlin Clark losing out on a unanimous vote. No, it's about a system that's suddenly under fire, a league whose fairness is now being questioned, and the looming shadow of racial and political tensions that no one saw coming. You'll want to stick around for the entire video, because by the end, you'll have the complete picture. This isn't just a story about basketball, it's about integrity, hidden motives, and a vote that might have changed everything. So here's how it all started. Caitlin Clark was set to receive what everyone thought was a well-deserved, unanimous Rookie of the Year award. Her performance on the court has been nothing short of spectacular, record-breaking stats, electrifying games, and an energy that had fans on the edge of their seats all season long. There was no question in anyone's mind that this award was hers, with a unanimous vote being the cherry on top of a historic season. But then, something strange happened. When the votes were tallied, out of the 67 possible votes, 66 were for Caitlin. But that last vote? It didn't go to her. Instead, it went to Angel Reese, leaving everyone stunned and confused. How could someone not see what the rest of the world saw? This isn't just about a vote. It's about what that one decision means. The entire league and its fans were now left wondering if something bigger was at play. Who was this voter? What were their reasons? Was it just a simple difference in opinion? Or was there something more sinister behind it: favoritism, bias, or maybe even racial tensions? The moment that vote was revealed, the conversation shifted from celebrating a brilliant player's season to questioning the integrity of the entire voting process. Now, fans are left asking the hard questions: is this vote a reflection of something deeper? Could it be that personal agendas are starting to play a role in decisions that should be based purely on merit? And most importantly, what does this mean for Caitlin Clark, a player who was set to make history? As the dust began to settle and the excitement of the Rookie of the Year announcement faded, something strange lingered in the air. Caitlin Clark had claimed the title, no doubt, but there was an unexpected blemish on what should have been a perfect moment. One single vote had gone to Angel Reese, and the league, along with its fans, was left wondering why. Who could possibly think that Caitlin didn't deserve to be the unanimous winner? The reaction was swift and intense, almost as if the entire WNBA community let out a collective gasp. Social media exploded, with questions flying left and right: who voted against Caitlin Clark, and why would anyone make such a controversial move? You see, Caitlin wasn't just any rookie, she was a game changer. She had redefined what it meant to be a rookie in the WNBA. Her stats were groundbreaking, her performances electrifying, and her influence undeniable. From breaking records to drawing in new fans, she was the face everyone expected to see at the top, with no questions asked. But that one vote, it changed the conversation entirely. Instead of celebrating Caitlin's achievement, the spotlight shifted to the mystery behind that single vote. The league's credibility was being questioned, with people speculating that something deeper might be at play. Could it be personal bias? Was there some sort of rivalry we didn't know about? Or even worse, was there a racial undertone to the decision? The vote wasn't just an anomaly, it was a red flag, and fans weren't willing to let it slide. Now, the narrative was no longer about the undeniable talent of Caitlin Clark. Instead, it became a story about fairness, transparency, and whether the league's voting process could be trusted at all. The WNBA, a league known for its strong values and inclusivity, was suddenly at the center of a storm that no one saw coming, and all eyes were on that one voter. As the chatter around the mysterious vote grew louder, one name began to surface: Alyssa Thomas, a veteran in the WNBA, known for her strong presence both on and off the court. When it was finally revealed that she was the one who cast her vote for Angel Reese, The league and its fans were left reeling. Why would a seasoned player like Alyssa, who had seen so much talent in her career, go against the grain and deny Caitlin Clark the unanimous title that everyone believed she deserved? Some called it an act of defiance, while others speculated it was a calculated move to make a statement. But what statement was Alyssa trying to make? Was it about race loyalty or simply personal preference? Angel Reese, after all, had also had an impressive season, but to most fans and analysts, there was no comparison between her performance and Caitlin's record-shattering debut. So why cast that vote for Angel? Theories started flying. Some believed Alyssa was simply supporting a fellow player, someone she felt deserved recognition, even if it was against the majority's opinion. But others weren't so convinced. They saw it as something more personal, possibly even political. Alyssa had been vocal in the past about issues of fairness and equality in the league, often speaking out when she felt players were being treated unfairly. But this time, it felt different. Was this vote really about supporting Angel Reese, or was it about pushing back against the overwhelming attention that Caitlin Clark had received? Whatever the reason, one thing was clear: Alyssa's decision had ignited a firestorm of controversy, and the league was now caught in the middle of a debate it hadn't anticipated. Fans were demanding answers, and many were left wondering if personal bias had influenced a vote that should have been based solely on performance. With Alyssa Thomas now identified as the one who cast the controversial vote, the WNBA found itself in the middle of a brewing storm. Fans, analysts, and even fellow players began questioning the integrity of the voting process. Was the system flawed? How could personal feelings or rivalries sway what should be an objective evaluation of talent? These were questions everyone was asking, and Alyssa found herself at the center of it all. Her decision didn't just spark conversation, it triggered a wave of anger and frustration. Social media became a battlefield, with some defending Alyssa's right to vote as she saw fit, while others accused her of sabotaging what should have been a unanimous vote based purely on merit. And then there were the whispers of something even deeper. Was this vote about race? Caitlin Clark, who had captivated audiences with her incredible performances, came from a different background than Angel Reese. Some speculated that Alyssa's vote wasn't just a show of support for Reese, but also a pushback against the overwhelming spotlight on Clark, a young white player in a league where racial tensions have often bubbled beneath the surface. It didn't help that Alyssa had been outspoken about issues of race and fairness in the past. Her history of calling out perceived biases now came back into the conversation, leading many to wonder if her vote for Angel Reese was less about celebrating Angel's accomplishments and more about making a broader statement. The WNBA, which had prided itself on fairness and equality, now had to face the uncomfortable reality that this vote had exposed potential cracks in its system. The fallout wasn't just about one rookie award, it was about the credibility of the league, the fairness of its awards, and whether personal agendas were playing a larger role than anyone had realized. As the dust settled from Alyssa Thomas' vote, a deeper conversation began to unfold. This was no longer just about one award or even just about two players. It became a broader debate about fairness in the WNBA. Fans and analysts alike were asking tough questions. Is the voting process really as unbiased as it should be? Can personal relationships or feelings affect decisions that should be based purely on performance? Alyssa's vote seemed to open Pandora's box. The league, which had always promoted itself as an organization built on integrity and fairness, was suddenly faced with a credibility issue. If one vote could cause so much controversy, how could fans be sure that other decisions, awards, or even calls during games weren't influenced by personal feelings or biases? The idea that something as monumental as Rookie of the Year could be influenced by off-court factors left a bitter taste in many people's mouths. But beyond that, this incident highlighted something much more sensitive: race. In a league that is predominantly black, the rise of a white star like Caitlin Clark brought attention to the delicate racial dynamics within the WNBA. Clark's incredible talent was undeniable, but some questioned if the overwhelming support she received was influenced by her race. On the other hand, Angel Reese, a talented black player, also had a strong season. Could Alyssa's vote have been her way of balancing the scales, making sure Angel's efforts weren't overlooked? These questions weren't easy to answer, and they triggered passionate discussions across the sports world. Was it fair to assume that Alyssa's vote was based on race, or was she simply exercising her right to vote for the player she believed deserved recognition? The truth may never be fully known, but one thing was certain: this controversy had struck a nerve, and the conversation wasn't going away anytime soon. As the debate raged on, the cries for transparency in the voting process grew louder. Analysts, fans, and even some players began to call for changes, demanding that the WNBA address the apparent flaws that had been exposed by this incident. People wanted to know who voted for whom and why. If the league truly stood for fairness and equality, shouldn't the voting be transparent and accountable? Social media buzzed with proposals for reform. Some suggested that the league adopt a system similar to that of the NBA, where votes are public and voters are held accountable for their choices. It made sense if players were making decisions that could impact the league's reputation, then those decisions should be made openly. Why should anyone be allowed to hide behind anonymity when their vote could influence the future of the league? And then there was Alyssa herself, facing mounting pressure and scrutiny. She had been a prominent voice in discussions about fairness and equality, and now she was at the center of a controversy that many felt contradicted everything she had stood for. Was her decision to vote for Angel Reese truly about fairness, or was it a reflection of her own biases? With every passing day, the fallout from that one vote continued to ripple through the WNBA. Discussions about bias and integrity had taken center stage, overshadowing what should have been a moment of celebration for Caitlin Clark. Fans were left wondering, could the league recover from this? Would the integrity of future awards be forever tarnished by this incident? The implications of Alyssa's vote were vast and complex, touching on issues of race, fairness, and the need for a transparent system. As more voices joined the conversation, it became clear that the WNBA had a long road ahead if it wanted to restore trust among its players and fans. Amidst the turmoil and controversy surrounding the voting for Rookie of the Year, Caitlin Clark remained a focal point in the conversation. With her record-breaking performances and undeniable talent, she had quickly become a household name, capturing the hearts of fans across the nation. However, this moment of recognition was now clouded by doubt and scrutiny, and it was disheartening to see her achievement overshadowed by the fallout from one individual's vote. Caitlin had worked tirelessly to earn her place in the league, breaking records that had stood for years and displaying a level of skill that left audiences in awe. Her ability to perform under pressure and maintain composure in the face of challenges was what made her a true star. But as the narrative shifted from her extraordinary accomplishments to the controversy over the vote, it felt as though the essence of her journey was being lost. For Caitlin, this experience was a stark reminder of how quickly the narrative in sports could change. One moment, she was the celebrated rookie, and the next, she was at the center of a debate about fairness and integrity in a league she had always dreamed of being a part of. Despite the turmoil, Caitlin continued to push forward, focusing on her game and remaining committed to her team and fans. Her resilience was admirable, and it served as an inspiration for many young athletes watching her. Caitlin knew that the road ahead might be fraught with challenges, but she was determined to rise above the noise and prove her worth on the court. She understood that in sports, as in life, there would always be obstacles to overcome, and it was how she responded to those challenges that would define her legacy. As the WNBA faced calls for transparency and accountability, Caitlin Clark's journey became a symbol of hope and determination. She was more than just a player, she was a role model who embodied the spirit of the game, reminding everyone that true greatness comes not only from winning awards but also from overcoming adversity with grace and tenacity. As the discussion around Alyssa Thomas's vote continued to evolve, the broader WNBA community began to feel the repercussions of this incident. Fans, players, and analysts were not only focused on Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese but also on what this meant for the future of the league. Trust in the voting process had been shaken, and many wondered how this would affect the relationships between players moving forward. The tension was palpable, with some players feeling divided over the voting outcome. Conversations in locker rooms shifted from strategies on the court to discussions about fairness, bias, and integrity. Young players looking up to their idols started to question whether their efforts would be recognized or dismissed based on personal relationships or hidden agendas. In the wake of this controversy, some veteran players stepped up, advocating for a transparent voting process that would hold everyone accountable. They argued that if the league wanted to maintain its reputation as a champion of equality and fairness, it needed to lead by example. The call for change was loud and clear. A transparent system would ensure that every vote counted and that every player's achievements were recognized for what they truly were, without the shadow of bias looming overhead. Meanwhile, fans were equally vocal, using social media platforms to express their frustrations and suggestions. Hashtags began to trend, calling for a reform of the voting system and demanding that the league prioritize fairness. They wanted to ensure that the narrative surrounding their favorite players was based on talent and performance, not personal feelings or bias. As the WNBA navigated this tumultuous period, it became evident that the outcome of this vote would have lasting effects on the league's culture. The community rallied around the idea of fostering a more transparent environment, one where talent could shine without the interference of politics or personal biases. The conversation was no longer just about a single vote. It had evolved into a movement aimed at securing a fairer future for the league and its players. As the aftermath of Alyssa Thomas's controversial vote continued to unfold, it became clear that this moment would serve as a pivotal turning point for the WNBA. The discussions surrounding the integrity of the voting process sparked an awakening within the league, with both players and management recognizing the need for change. In the months that followed, the WNBA took steps to address the concerns raised by fans and players alike. The league initiated a series of meetings aimed at reforming the voting process, making it more transparent and accountable. The objective was to create a system where players felt their contributions were valued based solely on merit, free from the influence of personal biases or rivalries. Key stakeholders, including former players and current league officials, came together to brainstorm solutions. They discussed the implementation of a public voting system, similar to what the NBA had, where voters would be required to stand by their choices. This transparency could not only help eliminate biases but also foster a sense of trust among players and fans. Caitlin Clark's story became a rallying cry for those advocating for change. Her remarkable talent and resilience resonated with many, and her experience was seen as a call to action. As discussions about reforms gained momentum, players began to feel empowered to speak out about their own experiences and the challenges they faced within the league. Meanwhile, the WNBA's commitment to creating a fair environment sent ripples of hope throughout the community. Fans watched as their favorite players united to advocate for fairness, reminding everyone that the essence of sports is about respect, integrity, and recognizing talent regardless of personal feelings. As these changes began to take shape, the league also initiated outreach programs, encouraging dialogue between players and fans. The aim was to bridge gaps and ensure everyone felt heard and valued in the WNBA community. This moment in history was not just about one vote anymore. It was about creating a legacy of fairness, accountability, and respect for all players in the league. The WNBA was on a path to redefine itself, ensuring that every player's hard work and dedication would be acknowledged and celebrated without the overshadowing influence of bias or personal agendas. As the WNBA embarked on this journey of reform, the impact of Alyssa Thomas's vote was felt far beyond the immediate aftermath. Caitlin Clark's resilience and the collective response of the league became emblematic of a transformative moment in women's basketball. This incident had sparked a movement that would forever change the landscape of the league, empowering players to demand the respect and recognition they deserved. With the new voting reforms in place, players felt a renewed sense of trust in the system. No longer would their achievements be overshadowed by hidden agendas or personal biases. The transparent voting process ensured that every player's hard work and dedication would be honored based on merit. As a result, the league experienced a surge in camaraderie among players, fostering a culture of support and collaboration that had previously been missing. Fans, too, embraced this shift. They rallied behind their favorite players, proud to see the league take steps toward fairness. The conversation around women's basketball became richer, with discussions focusing on the incredible talent and stories of the players rather than the politics behind the votes. Caitlin Clark, once at the center of controversy, emerged as a beacon of hope and inspiration for aspiring athletes everywhere. Over time, the reforms introduced in the WNBA influenced other sports leagues as well. Organizations began to recognize the importance of transparency and fairness, drawing lessons from the WNBA's experience. This ripple effect underscored the significance of the issues at hand, highlighting how a single vote could ignite a movement for change that transcended beyond the league itself. As the seasons progressed, Caitlin continued to excel, solidifying her place among the league's elite. The conversation shifted back to her phenomenal talent and her contributions to the sport. With every game she played, Caitlin showcased the brilliance that had first captured the hearts of fans, now free from the cloud of controversy. In reflecting on this journey, it was evident that Alyssa Thomas's vote had been a catalyst for change not just for the individuals involved but for the entire league. It served as a powerful reminder of the importance of integrity, respect, and the unwavering pursuit of excellence. The legacy of this moment would be felt for years to come, ensuring that the WNBA stood as a shining example of fairness in sports. As the WNBA entered a new era characterized by transparency and accountability, the atmosphere within the league was markedly different. Players felt empowered, knowing that their voices mattered and that their achievements would be acknowledged fairly. This shift not only rejuvenated the competitive spirit within the league, but also attracted new fans eager to support a system that championed fairness. With the new voting procedures in place, the WNBA witnessed a surge in interest and viewership. Fans were excited to see the league evolve, and the narrative surrounding women's basketball began to shift towards celebrating athleticism, skill, and dedication. The focus returned to the court, where players like Caitlin Clark were breaking records and delivering jaw-dropping performances. This renewed focus also created opportunities for young talent to emerge. Aspiring athletes looked up to the stars of the WNBA, inspired not only by their skills but also by the integrity with which they played. Clinics, mentorship programs, and community outreach initiatives flourished as established players took it upon themselves to give back to the next generation. As for Caitlin, she used her platform to advocate for equality and transparency in sports. She became a voice for her peers, emphasizing the importance of recognizing talent without the influence of personal biases. With each game, she not only showcased her abilities but also demonstrated what it meant to be a leader on and off the court. The changes in the WNBA also sparked conversations across various sports platforms. Other leagues began to take notice of the WNBA's commitment to fairness, with discussions around transparency and voting in award processes becoming a hot topic. Caitlin's story, along with the league's transformation, resonated beyond basketball, inspiring discussions about equity in all areas of sports. Looking back, what began as a controversial vote had catalyzed a broader movement for change. The league learned valuable lessons about trust, accountability, and the importance of celebrating talent. Players, fans, and the organization itself emerged stronger, united by a shared commitment to ensuring that the spirit of the game remained intact. In the end, this was more than just a story about Caitlin Clark and Alyssa Thomas. It was about a league evolving, learning from its past, and paving the way for a brighter future in women's basketball. The WNBA was no longer just a league, it had become a symbol of integrity, empowerment, and excellence. As the WNBA continued to thrive under its new policies and culture, it became increasingly clear that the changes had made a lasting impact. The league celebrated its commitment to fairness by highlighting not only the talent of its players but also the integrity of its voting process. Each season became a showcase of extraordinary skill, competitive spirit, and the power of unity among players. The annual awards ceremony, once mired in controversy, transformed into a jubilant celebration of achievement. Players eagerly anticipated this event, excited to honor their peers and recognize outstanding performances based solely on merit. Fans, who had once questioned the integrity of the process, now looked forward to the celebrations, confident that the awards reflected true excellence in the sport. Caitlin Clark, now a household name, continued to shatter records and set new benchmarks for future generations. Her journey inspired countless young athletes, especially girls, who saw in her a reflection of their dreams and aspirations. She became not just a role model on the court but also a mentor off it, participating in programs aimed at encouraging young players to pursue their passions with confidence. Moreover, the WNBA took proactive steps to promote diversity and inclusion within the league. Workshops and discussions on racial equity, personal development, and leadership became commonplace, ensuring that all players felt supported in their journeys. The league recognized that embracing diversity not only enriched the game but also strengthened the community as a whole. The legacy of Alyssa Thomas's vote, while initially seen as a setback, ultimately led to profound growth and transformation within the league. It was a reminder that every challenge could serve as a stepping stone toward progress. The WNBA emerged from this experience not only as a stronger organization but also as a beacon of hope for fairness in sports. As fans celebrated the successes of the league and its players, they also looked forward to the future. The stage was set for the next generation of stars to rise, inspired by the incredible athletes who had come before them. The WNBA had become a symbol of resilience, showcasing that talent, hard work, and integrity would always shine through, regardless of the obstacles faced along the way. With a renewed focus on collaboration and accountability, the WNBA was ready to embrace the future, confident in its mission to uplift all players and provide a platform where talent could flourish without bias. The journey was far from over, but one thing was certain: the best was yet to come. As the seasons progressed, both Alyssa Thomas and Caitlin Clark found themselves in a unique position within the WNBA. Each player, despite their contrasting paths, had become emblematic of the league's journey toward transparency and accountability. Alyssa, initially at the center of the storm, recognized the importance of her role in shaping the future of the league. She took the opportunity to reflect on her actions and engage in discussions about the implications of her vote. Acknowledging the complexities of race, identity, and personal biases, Alyssa became an advocate for change. She attended forums, participated in community outreach, and used her platform to encourage dialogue among players. Her willingness to learn from the past and grow as an individual resonated with many, showcasing that even mistakes could lead to positive outcomes when approached with humility and a desire for change. Meanwhile, Caitlin continued to rise as a superstar, dominating the court with her incredible skills and leadership. She became not only a fan favorite but also a respected figure among her peers. Caitlin's journey was about more than just breaking records. It was about setting an example of integrity, perseverance, and hard work. Her story became a source of inspiration for young athletes, particularly girls who aspired to break barriers in sports. Together, Alyssa and Caitlin's narratives intertwined in a way that illustrated the complexities of sports and society. They became symbols of the evolving WNBA, a league that recognized its past, embraced its present, and looked boldly into its future. Their experiences opened up important conversations about race, fairness, and the responsibilities of athletes in today's society. In the years to come, the WNBA would continue to thrive as a league known for its commitment to equality and excellence. The legacy of the events surrounding Alyssa's vote would not be forgotten. Instead, they served as a catalyst for ongoing dialogue and progress within the sport. As fans cheered on their favorite players, they did so with a renewed understanding of the struggles and triumphs that defined the league. The WNBA had emerged stronger, demonstrating that through challenges, growth was possible and change could be achieved. The future of women's basketball was bright, and with players like Caitlin and Alyssa leading the way, it was clear that the best was yet to come. As the WNBA entered a new chapter, the lessons learned from the past shaped the league's vision for the future. The commitment to fairness, transparency, and inclusivity became the guiding principles that defined its mission. The changes instituted in response to the controversial vote not only altered the voting process but also fostered a culture where players felt empowered to voice their opinions and advocate for one another. The league began to see an influx of talent, with more young athletes aspiring to join a community that championed equality and respect. The WNBA's outreach programs expanded, inspiring a new generation of players, coaches, and fans. Clinics and workshops focused on skill development, mentorship, and leadership, emphasizing the importance of hard work and dedication both on and off the court. In addition, the WNBA's increased visibility in the media and on social platforms allowed for richer storytelling. Fans could now engage with players in a more meaningful way, learning about their journeys, struggles, and triumphs. This connection fostered a sense of community, uniting fans, players, and teams in a shared love for the game. Caitlin Clark continued to break records, but she also took on the role of a mentor, helping to guide younger players navigating the complexities of professional sports. Alyssa Thomas, having transformed her narrative, became a voice for accountability within the league. Their partnership symbolized the unity and growth of the WNBA, a testament to the idea that progress could emerge from conflict. With the momentum of positive change, the WNBA also explored partnerships with various organizations aimed at promoting social justice, education, and community support. These initiatives highlighted the league's commitment to using its platform for the greater good, further solidifying its reputation as a leader in advocating for equality and respect in sports. As the league looked ahead, it recognized that the journey was ongoing. The commitment to transparency and fairness had laid a solid foundation, but the work was far from finished. Each season brought new challenges, and the league was determined to meet them head-on with integrity and resilience. In conclusion, the legacy of Alyssa Thomas and Caitlin Clark would be felt for generations. Their stories, intertwined with the evolution of the WNBA, served as powerful reminders that change is possible when individuals stand up for what is right. The future of the league was bright, with a renewed focus on celebrating talent, fostering equality, and empowering players to make their voices heard. As the WNBA continued to flourish, it became more than just a sports league. It evolved into a movement that inspired change beyond the boundaries of basketball. The commitment to transparency, equity, and inclusivity served as a model for other sports organizations, showing that addressing issues of bias and inequality was not only necessary but also beneficial for the integrity of the game. The conversations ignited by Alyssa Thomas's controversial vote paved the way for greater awareness about racial and social justice issues in sports. The league embraced its role as a platform for advocacy, encouraging players to use their voices to speak out on issues that mattered to them and their communities. From social justice campaigns to discussions about mental health, the WNBA positioned itself at the forefront of important societal conversations, demonstrating that athletes could be powerful agents of change. As Caitlin Clark and Alyssa Thomas took center stage in their respective careers, they became symbols of resilience and empowerment. Caitlin continued to break records and captivate fans, but she also recognized the importance of lifting others as she rose. Her efforts to mentor young players highlighted the significance of community and support in achieving success. Alyssa, now a respected figure for her advocacy work, shared her experiences candidly. She participated in panels and discussions, encouraging fellow athletes to reflect on their actions and the impact they could have on the broader community. Her willingness to address her past mistakes resonated with many, showing that growth is a lifelong journey. As the WNBA looked forward to its future, it remained dedicated to nurturing talent and creating an environment where all players could thrive. The league's initiatives focused on education, health, and wellness, ensuring that athletes had the support they needed to excel both on and off the court. The commitment to fostering a culture of respect and collaboration transformed the league into a family, where players rallied around one another, celebrated each other's achievements, and stood together against adversity. This unity created an atmosphere where players felt safe to express themselves, knowing they were part of a community that valued their contributions. In the grand narrative of sports, the WNBA's evolution became a powerful story of hope and transformation. The legacy of Alyssa Thomas and Caitlin Clark illustrated that change is not only possible but can lead to remarkable outcomes when driven by a shared commitment to integrity and fairness. As the league continued to evolve, it inspired not only future generations of athletes but also fans who believed in the power of sports to effect positive change. The WNBA was more than a league, it was a testament to the strength of community, resilience in the face of challenges, and the pursuit of a more just world. As the WNBA solidified its position as a leader in the sports world, its impact rippled through the landscape of women's sports on a global scale. The commitment to transparency, fairness, and empowerment not only inspired athletes in basketball but also resonated with women across various disciplines, encouraging them to advocate for their rights and achievements. The league became a beacon for aspiring female athletes, illustrating that success is attainable through hard work and dedication, and that their voices matter. Young girls looked to Caitlin Clark and Alyssa Thomas as role models, inspired not just by their talent on the court but also by their character off it. These athletes showed that one's journey could be both a personal triumph and a collective movement for change. Moreover, the WNBA's emphasis on community engagement encouraged other sports leagues to evaluate their own practices. Conversations about racial equity, mental health, and player rights became more prevalent in the sports world. Athletes from different sports began to join forces, sharing their stories and advocating for the same principles that had transformed the WNBA. Media coverage of women's sports also began to shift, with networks recognizing the importance of highlighting female athletes' achievements and their impact beyond the game. Documentaries, features, and social media campaigns celebrated the journeys of women in sports, giving them the visibility and respect they had long deserved. This newfound recognition further solidified the idea that women's sports are not just a sideshow but a vital part of the athletic world. As the WNBA continued to thrive, its influence expanded beyond the basketball court, impacting societal norms and expectations around women in sports. Athletes became more than just players, they became activists, educators, and leaders. This evolution fostered a culture where female athletes felt empowered to speak out on issues of injustice, leading to a collective movement that pushed for change not just in sports but in society at large. In the end, the WNBA's story was not just about basketball, it was about rewriting the narrative surrounding women in sports. The legacy of Alyssa Thomas and Caitlin Clark underscored the belief that change is possible through unity, resilience, and a steadfast commitment to fairness. The future looked bright for women's sports, as the WNBA continued to lead the way, inspiring athletes to break barriers, challenge stereotypes, and pave the way for future generations. This was a league that had learned from its past, embraced its potential, and committed itself to a future where every athlete could shine. As the WNBA progressed further into the future, its legacy continued to unfold in remarkable ways. The league's dedication to fostering an inclusive and equitable environment not only transformed the lives of its athletes, but also created a cultural shift within the broader landscape of sports. The impact of the reforms initiated after Alyssa Thomas's controversial vote became a case study for other leagues, illustrating the importance of addressing biases and ensuring that every athlete felt valued. Organizations across various sports began implementing similar transparency measures, recognizing that credibility and integrity are essential for any league aiming to thrive in the modern world. With each season, the WNBA welcomed fresh talent eager to make their mark. New players arrived with the knowledge that they were stepping into a league committed to fairness and respect. This sense of purpose permeated the culture, encouraging athletes to strive for greatness while remaining steadfast in their principles. Caitlin Clark and Alyssa Thomas, now both seasoned players, used their experiences to mentor the next generation. They organized workshops and training sessions focused not just on athletic skills but also on leadership, advocacy, and personal growth. Their stories served as powerful lessons in resilience and accountability, reminding young athletes that every challenge could lead to profound growth and change. The league's visibility also flourished through strategic partnerships with brands and media outlets that recognized the value of promoting women's sports. The increased exposure led to better sponsorship opportunities for players, allowing them to focus more on their craft without the financial strains that often burden athletes in women's sports. As the WNBA celebrated its milestones, it also remained dedicated to addressing ongoing challenges. Issues such as pay equity, mental health awareness, and support for athletes transitioning out of sports continued to be priorities. The league's leadership consistently sought input from players, creating an open dialogue that allowed for continuous improvement and adaptation. In this evolving landscape, the WNBA's commitment to social justice also persisted. The league partnered with various organizations to tackle systemic issues affecting women and marginalized communities. Through initiatives focused on education, health, and empowerment, the WNBA stood firm in its mission to use its platform for the greater good, showing that sports can indeed be a powerful vehicle for change. Looking ahead, the future of the WNBA appeared limitless. With a strong foundation built on integrity and advocacy, the league had the potential to shape not just the world of basketball, but the very fabric of sports culture. Athletes, fans, and advocates alike recognized that this was a moment in history, one that would inspire generations to come. The legacy of Alyssa Thomas and Caitlin Clark transcended basketball, reminding everyone that true greatness is achieved not only through personal success but also through the courage to stand up for what is right. As the WNBA continued to grow and evolve, it solidified its place as a champion for change, inspiring hope and resilience in the hearts of many. As we reach the conclusion of this journey through the evolution of the WNBA, it's essential to reflect on the monumental changes that have taken place within the league and the broader implications for women in sports. The story of Alyssa Thomas and Caitlin Clark serves as a powerful reminder of how a single event can spark a movement, leading to meaningful progress and lasting impact. In a world where women athletes have often faced hurdles and skepticism, the WNBA has emerged as a beacon of hope and resilience. The league's commitment to transparency, fairness, and inclusivity not only reshaped its own narrative but also set a precedent for other sports organizations worldwide. The changes initiated in response to past controversies have created an environment where athletes are empowered to excel, advocate for themselves and their peers, and inspire future generations. The efforts to mentor young athletes, promote social justice, and foster a culture of respect have led to a new era in women's sports, one where female athletes are recognized not only for their athletic prowess but also for their contributions to society. As the WNBA continues to expand its influence, it creates pathways for future stars to rise and ensures that the next generation of athletes understands the importance of standing up for their rights and the values they hold dear. The legacy of Caitlin Clark's remarkable talent and Alyssa Thomas's transformative journey illustrates the complexities of the sports world and the potential for growth that arises from challenges. They remind us that true greatness lies not only in individual accomplishments but also in the ability to uplift others and effect positive change. As we look to the future, the WNBA stands at the forefront of a movement that champions equality, respect, and integrity in sports. With each season, the league not only showcases incredible talent but also demonstrates the power of community, advocacy, and unwavering commitment to excellence. In closing, the journey of the WNBA is far from over. It is a testament to the strength of athletes who dare to dream, challenge the status quo, and create a legacy that will inspire generations to come. Together, they are paving the way for a brighter future, ensuring that women's sports continue to flourish and thrive in an environment where every player is valued, respected, and celebrated for their contributions to the game.